Uninvited Guest. The wind howled like a banshee through the skeletal remains of the once grand oak, its gnarled branches scraping against the attic window like skeletal fingers seeking entry. Rain lashed against the aging shingles, drumming a relentless rhythm that mirrored the frantic beat of Sarah's heart. She huddled deeper into the corner of the dusty attic, her eyes glued to the flickering oil lamp that cast long, distorted shadows across the cobweb-draped rafters. The power had been out for days, plunging the isolated farmhouse into an abyss of perpetual twilight. It was then that the whispers began, insidious tendrils of sound that wormed their way into her ears, twisting her thoughts and fueling her anxieties. They spoke of unseen horrors lurking in the shadows, of a presence that hungered for the warmth of the living. Sarah wasn't alone. Her brother, Liam, a hulking figure with eyes that held a quiet strength, sat opposite her, his weathered hands clasped around a rusty hunting rifle. His unshaven face, etched with worry lines, reflected the same primal fear that gnawed at Sarah's heart. Sarah shivered, pulling her fraying shawl tighter around her wiry frame. She glanced over at her brother. Liam met her gaze, eyes burning with protectiveness. Sarah remembered all the times Liam had defended her from schoolyard bullies, frightening them away with his imposing size. But this time felt different. There was no escaping this nameless evil that had invaded their sanctuary. "It's getting closer," Liam muttered, peering into the impenetrable darkness beyond the attic's boarded-up window. Goosebumps prickled Sarah's arms at the ominous certainty in his tone. The whispers grew louder, swirling around them like a malevolent storm, culminating in a chilling voice that seemed to resonate from within the walls themselves. "Let me in." The demand echoed through the farmhouse, underlined by an unnatural screeching akin to corroded nails raking across stone. Sarah's blood ran cold. She felt Liam stiffen beside her, his grip tightening around the rifle stock until his knuckles turned white. The entity was here. And they were woefully unprepared. Sarah's breath came in panicked gasps as abject terror threatened to consume her. She felt her sanity unraveling, the horrifying whispers worming into her psyche, polluting her thoughts with visceral images of death and decay. She wanted to scream, but no sound came out. As Sarah teetered on the brink, she felt Liam's strong hands close around her trembling shoulders. "Look at me, Sarah," Liam implored, his voice taut but steady. "We need to keep it together if we're going to get through this." Sarah stared desperately into her brother's hazel eyes, wide with urgency yet somehow resolute. She focused on the familiar face that had always given her courage, using it as an anchor to pull herself back from the chasm of madness. Gradually, her breathing slowed. Her mind cooled as she clung to Liam's anchoring presence. Sarah gave a shaky nod. They turned together to stare at the attic door, ears straining as the screeching whispers coalesced into garbled words. "I smell your fear. Let me in and your end shall be swift." As the hideous threat trailed off into malicious laughter, Liam pulled Sarah tighter against him. "Like hell," he spat through clenched teeth. "I don't know what that thing is, but it ain't getting to you without going through me first." Heart swelling with love and gratitude toward her loyal brother, Sarah remembered something, a cryptic nursery rhyme recited by their late grandmother. "When darkness comes a-creeping, seek the stones concealing the glowing tome of power, to banish evil's glower. There's a hidden chamber," Sarah exclaimed, her voice barely audible above the shrieking wind. "If we can find it, maybe the secrets inside can help stop this thing." Hope kindled in Liam's eyes. Fueled by newfound purpose, they began frantically searching the dust-choked attic space, overturning crates and shone the sputtering oil lamp into every dark corner. An agonized wail pierced the air, reverberating through the walls as the unseen intruder vented its mounting frustration. Sarah's hands shook as she felt along the cold brick chimney. Liam whipped his head around wildly at each noise, rifle cocked and ready to fire. Their exploration brought them along the exterior wall where yellowed wallpaper hung in weathered ribbons. Liam's hand suddenly shot out, halting Sarah. "There," he exclaimed. Wedged between the exposed wooden beams, almost invisible behind the dilapidated wallpaper, Sarah now discerned what her brother had discovered, loose brickwork betraying a secret opening. With trembling hands, they tore away the crumbling paper barrier. Sarah held her breath as Liam pried out the ancient bricks, slowly revealing a narrow, pitch-black aperture. Wordlessly, they slipped through the crude opening. As Liam swung the oil lamp in a slow arc, its dim light illuminated a small chamber lined with stone slabs. Strange symbols decorated the walls and ceiling. Heavy cobwebs draped across a large object in the chamber's center, an ancient altar carved from smooth black rock. Sarah inhaled sharply as the lamp's glow fell upon the altar's surface, because resting atop its sleek stone plane was an ornately fashioned book with a gleaming emerald set into the cover. Mesmerized, Sarah reached for the Victorian-era tome. As her fingers made contact, a blinding emerald flash lit up the secret room. Sarah and Liam shielded their eyes against the brilliance. Then the whispers rose. The walls themselves seemed to mutter and moan as an otherworldly susurrus swirled around the hidden chamber. Before their astonished eyes, shadowy tendrils crept over the symbols engraved into the stone. "What's happening?" Liam yelled over the cacophony. Before Sarah could respond, the book suddenly flipped open. Strange sigils and arcane illustrations bled onto the yellowed pages from an unseen source. Then Sarah understood as a phrase materialized at the top of the glowing page. Livre de Lumière, the Book of Light. "It's revealing itself to us," she cried. "These must be spells, for fighting evil." Liam's eyes blazed with exhilaration and hope. If they could decode this arcane script, perhaps the ancient magic contained within the Livre de Lumière could be used to defeat the sinister force trying to invade their home. For hours they pored frantically over the cryptic pages, desperately trying to unlock their secrets before the increasingly enraged predator battering the farmhouse gained entry. They worked together to translate the spidery French passages, gaining fragmentary glimpses into the nature of their foe. A demonic spirit feeds on fear and gains power in darkness. "Light is the key," Sarah said. "These incantations harness positive energy. That must be how Grandma banished this thing in the past." Shadowy claws suddenly burst through the attic floorboards in splinters, making Sarah cry out. Liam whirled to face the hole, rifle ready. A menacing, unnatural voice seeped from below. "Your ancestors' spells won't save you now. Give yourselves to me." The storm outside whipped itself into frenzy as the siege wore on, until finally, dawn's rosy fingers crept over the horizon. It was time. With blood and ink, Sarah drew an archaic glyph on her brother's forehead for protection. Her eyes locked with Liam as she raised the emerald book high. "Now," she commanded, and the ancient incantations poured from their lips. The siblings chanted out melodic words in a lyrical language not heard on Earth for centuries. The swirling ethereal energy built steadily like a rising chorus, filling the air with sounds and sensations at once visceral and sublime. The brewing spirit tempest reached an awe-inspiring crescendo together with the dazzling sunrise. Then all at once a resounding crack thundered through the house while blinding emerald lightning surged from the book to smite the patch of writhing shadows on the floor. A bone-chilling scream tore through the ethereal void as the piercing rays bathed the ghoulish intruder in a punishing glow. Caught in the burning web of light, the cursed creature writhed and bellowed as the unrelenting rays seared through its vile vaporous form. Until finally it let out a haunting death rattle. The swirling dark mass seemed to boil, dissolving into the wooden floor which now glowed with a network of shimmering veins where the vanquishing energy had penetrated. Silence, utter silence descended like a soothing balm, broken only by Liam and Sarah's racing heartbeats. They locked eyes with disbelief and fragile joy, scarcely able to grasp they had survived the nightmare. As one they turned to gaze out the soul window, where dawn's rosy hue now bathed the skeletal oak tree. Though the shadows still clung to its twisted branches, somehow the emerging light of morning made its twisted shape seem less threatening, as if the coming day had banished its menace. Sarah clutched the faded inscription. "Passed from my mother and hers before, a legacy of light against the darkness," she recited softly, reverently. For it was the love and courage of her ancestors that empowered Sarah to unlock the secrets that saved her and Liam against the encroaching dark. But even as hope swelled in their hearts, the siblings exchanged a grim, knowing look. The harrowing ordeal had shattered their innocence. For beyond the refuge of daylight still lurked nameless forces that resented the light. So as morning's radiant dawn spilled over quiet pastures to herald a new day, Sarah and Liam swore a silent oath to master the ancient tome's arts against shadow, carrying the family torch so that when darkness comes creeping once more, Others might stand strong against the uninvited guest.